Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for the 19th Sunday of Ordinary Time. John's Gospel this week is just a continuation of the discourse about the Eucharist that we've had for the past couple of weeks. And that topic is going to continue next week, when we'll talk about the Eucharist some more. But I wanted to take time out this week to talk about the second reading, which is Paul's letter to the Ephesians. Paul is admonishing us about our behavior. He says, all bitterness, anger, fury, shouting, and reviling must be removed from you, along with all malice. Yet if we turn on the evening news, especially political news, it seems like bitterness, fury, anger, shouting, and reviling is all over the place. It's our nature to have disagreements in society. For example, I'm reading a book now called The 13 Great American Arguments by journalist Howard Feynman. He points out that from the very beginning of our country, we've been arguing. If you read the Declaration of Independence, it not only declares our independence, but it contains a long list of grievances that we have against the King of England to explain why we want to be independent. It's one big long argument. Mr. Feynman's view, however, and I agree with him, is that if argument is done properly, it's a very good thing. When our leaders are making important decisions about our lives, we need to debate the pros and cons of every aspect. A lack of healthy debate results in a dictatorship and a loss of freedom. But somewhere along the way, we've forgotten how to behave in a civil manner while debating. Politicians are holding town hall meetings all over the country right now to debate very important issues. But people are shouting and yelling and showing bitterness and anger and fury and all of those things that Paul talked about, instead of really debating the issues before us. Not only has our public discourse shown the bitterness, fury, anger, and shouting that Paul talks about, but it also seems to be done with that sense of malice, which he especially admonishes us to avoid. Such bitter and malicious arguments unfortunately stray beyond politics and go on to religious arguments, and that's even more troublesome. Remember the second commandment, which says we should not take the name of the Lord in vain. We usually consider that to mean that we should not swear or use foul language. But I think there's a more important way that we take the name of the Lord in vain. That's when we claim to be Christians, followers of Christ, and then behave in ways that bring shame on us and shame on our beliefs. People look at the way that we behave and they say, if that's what it means to be Christian, then I don't want to be one. That's how we take the name of the Lord in vain. We need to heed the words of Paul when he says, be kind to one another, compassionate, and forgive one another as God has forgiven you in Christ. He asks us to be imitators of God and to remember that we're children of God. We are indeed children of God, whichever side of an argument we're on, and we need to treat each other as such. Our cities and towns, states, our nation, and the entire world all face many problems these days. And to solve these problems, we're going to need to debate the issues thoroughly. But if we do not find ways to debate in a civil and a compassionate and loving manner, then we'll never solve any of the problems. We must learn, as Paul says, to live in love as Christ loved us. And that's Good News on Tap for the 19th Sunday of Ordinary Time.